was just thinking that this is about what Irvin saw all those years ago when he arrived. He probably stood here thinking that he was going to make things better. He had a good heart. We need to reopen the case. See if there's anything that was overlooked the first time. We've done some legwork remotely, but we need to do some good old-fashioned investigating now. Hopefully it will be enough to clear Irvin's name. Oh, you remind me of him sometimes, wanting to make things right. And when you said it out loud, I actually believe we can do it. I just hope our lawyer is as confident. Yes, but listen, nobody will stand up against the mining corporations around here. They're scared. She didn't want to lose the case, but she didn't have a lot to go on. Thanks to us, now she does. I sent that to our lawyer already. I asked her to confidentially review what we found. Ellie Yankton. She worked on Irvin's previous case. Ellie is one of the few lawyers on this planet who's willing to take on the mining corporations in court. Right. She said she would meet us at her office when we arrive. Hopefully she'll tell us what we need to do in order to clear Irvin's name. Let's take it though. Garn is a huge town, but it's not a town that I want to get involved in.
Well. Barrett, you're actually here. Astounding.
Ellie, come on. I promised we'd stop by, didn't I?
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we? Not exactly, but similar cases. A corporation commits a crime and needs a scapegoat, so they select someone powerless to target.
The quintessential Gagarin tale.
Indeed. Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined. It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well. Down to business. Perfect. What do you already know?
So we already know that Irvin worked for Hephaestus Mining Company years ago. And they blamed him for catastrophic economic and ecological issues here on Gagarin.
Yes, He lost his case because he didn't defend himself, and we had almost no evidence without him. He was publicly blamed for the economic woes, and his accounts were seized in compensation.
His account on Gagarin specifically. It was just the amount he was paid years ago for the job.
Right. They would have taken his assets and other settlements, but by law, his death prevented it.
I recall receiving a message asking him to appear in court a day after his funeral.
An unfortunate reality of interplanetary legal communiques, I'm afraid. Well, we can bring the case to a judge here if we have new evidence or a witness.
What about the evidence we found so far?
Yes, well, about that. It's just not enough. Best case scenario, we clear his name and his assets are returned, plus additional compensation. In order for me to go before a judge, I'd like to have some solid evidence pertaining to motive. The courts won't entertain a challenge to its ruling unless we're sure that something major was missed in the original trial.
What was the motive from the original trial?
We had no solid motive after our witness withdrew his testimony. Yeah, we need something major. Documentation, recordings, a witness, something.
It's been so long. How could we find anything like that?
I've thought about this a lot since the original case. The mine that Irvin worked at was shuttered in 2309. They probably still have documents relating to whatever happened there with him. Not necessarily. To Hephaestus, it might be cheaper to run away and let the dust bury it all.
Not really. All I know is that it's a Hephaestus mine from 20 years ago, somewhere on Gagarin.
I don't have a couple decades to wait for you to search them all, so we'll need to narrow it down. That's where you come in. I don't know which mine he worked at when the incident took place. In theory, you could find that information on a Foundry terminal, if you can access it. You'll need a passcode. That's the hard part. Besides the Foundry records, there also might be something in Irvin's apartment. If he knew he was being framed, he might have held on to some documents there.
Dear Diary, today we created an ecological disaster and then blamed it on an off-worlder. Love Hephaestus.
Funny. But you'd be surprised how often people write down things that get them into serious trouble.
Oh, do tell.
For comparison, I just finished a case against another company that was charged with illegally dumping waste near the town's water supply. Their permits specified a site that would have cost twice as much fuel, so they sent a memo to the driver to dump it at the first available location just outside of town.
They actually wrote that down. Classic. Do you think your Argos extractor's credentials could work? That would be handy.
Barrett, you brought someone with relevant work experience? I admire that.
I'm nothing if not resourceful, Ellie.
If that doesn't work, then maybe talk shop with another worker. See if they can help.
We just need to find a mine where Irvin worked 20-some years ago. How hard could that be?
Let me level with you both. It might not be possible to find enough evidence. But we may as well try, right? At least we'll know one way or another. If you'll excuse me, I have to get some court documents ready for this case.
Foundry District isn't too far from here. I should still have a key to Irvin's apartment. I hope it's worth our time, but I can't be sure. I should still have a key to Irvin's apartment. For you? We'll be back soon, Ellie. Wish us luck. I should still have the key to her. Anything for my family? We've got some solid leads. We'll be back soon, Ellie. Wish us luck.
They said Ark might come.
I've got applications in at Arkmite and Reliant, and I know most of the other applicants.
You heading outside the city? Be careful. If the heat doesn't kill you, the critters bite.
After you. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plants. No windows, insufficient power for proper lamps. Oh, he must have been. No wonder he wrote so much. Wait a second. What about this safe? I bet it's locked by a terminal. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Irvin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Irvin didn't live here for long, but he certainly had a lot of junk here. I had no idea. look at that. If we go to Town Hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. Is that Irvin's employment contract? Let me see. No idea where mine H363 is, but we could search for it at the Foundry database. All right, we've got some solid leads, it looks like. The employment contract and the hunting license at Town Hall. The more the merrier. Unless you're Hephaestus. It was a bit strange going through Irvin's old things, though. I was hoping for some old pictures, but nothing. What's that you have there? A plant? No, but I did find a few slates that might give us a clue. As well as a reminder to finish a physics paper that I never did. Yeah, but not for the trial. Let no one say that Irvin Madani didn't have a sentimental side. The proof is in this plant, with an assist from this self-sustaining habitat dish. Witchcraft, probably. But if you want a more scientific explanation, I have a couple of theories. It could go through states of hibernation, or draw moisture from the air the way epiphytic plants do. There's also that habitat dish Irvin set up for it, which gave it light and nutrients. Still, I'm not ruling out witchcraft. I'm not sure. It might not even be a plant. It might technically be a fungus. But there's probably a reason why Irvin tried his best to keep it alive. When we get back home, I'll go through some of his research notes. It might tell us something more about this plant. Hopefully it's not poisonous. No, maybe not. But it helps me. Irvin was the last person to handle this plant. It mattered to him. No matter how the case goes, this warms my heart. I didn't expect to find it, but I love that I did. In any event, I'll go through Irvin's notes in more detail later. There's probably a flowchart somewhere with this little guy's name on it. Oh, on that note, we should give it a name. I'm thinking something simple yet refined. What do you think of Harvey? Then it's unanimous. Okay, the three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve.
Finally starting to cool off.
They probably never intended for these walkways to last this long. Hopefully that public access computer is still working. So, the hunting license was sponsored by Hephaestus after all. Ellie will be very interested to see this.
Not looking to chat, friend.
See if there's any way to search the database. You know that admin passcode we got from the Cyber Runner? Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Irvin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Just a job, right? Well, at least we know where to keep looking, right? Essentially any documentation that screams, Irvin isn't guilty, we made it up. I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. It's possible they collapsed it before they left. We just won't know until we get there. If that's the case, we'll just have to figure something out. Careful. This place was shuttered 20 years ago. Might have no tenants now. promising. This looks like administration. Bingo. All right. Now let's go find Irvin and Helge's lab stations. lights are on.
I know what you need. Yeah, more meat. Exactly.
That was a weird noise. I know it's... I know it's not uncommon.
We're stranded.
Seems like Helge tried to do the right thing here. I'm sure Ellie would want to see this.
These silly news ethics violations dating back to the war. And faceless just ignored them.
was the destruction of the bacterial colonies, not the apex predators. So, they ruined the ecosystem here, and it had nothing to do with Irvin. This is it. This is what Ellie needs to see. Well, there it is. They hired Dr. Hawkson to study the gases and how it related to the mineral extraction process. Standard studies. But he discovered that the extraction process was damaging the ecosystem. Irvin's mentioned here, but his impact on that is clearly unrelated. I think so, but Ellie will be the judge of that. I'd venture it's everything we need to clear Irvin, based on the dates alone. But if we want the full Monty, including getting Hephaestus to admit to the crime, it might take more. We'll have to see. Exactly. This is undeniable. The ecosystem was suffering long before Irvin arrived. That's right. I'm sure Ellie has people that can verify its authenticity. And if not, they can always come here. Should be a lot smoother investigation after evicting a few of the tenants. Let's get out of here. This place creeps me out now. I hope Ellie is still taking names and holding people accountable around here.
Ugh, real scorching today, isn't it?
You've been to Clint's recently?
Ellie! Hello?
Welcome back, detectives.
Ellie, I sent you all the data from the mine already. As I'm sure you know.
Yes, I've been reviewing it. Sit down. Let's have a chat about it. Welcome back, you two. How was the trip to the mine?
You're gonna love this, Ellie.
Okay, someone better tell me. Come on.
We found the coordinates to Irvin's old work site and went there. Huge battle. Fire, explosions. Pew, 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 pew.
Barrett, please.
You should have seen the plants in there, too. Weird stuff. Anyway, you read over the documents we found there, right? What do you think?
What you both found in that mine is remarkable. These documents show that the chemicals released by the mining process contaminated the ecology even before Irvin was tasked with removing the predators. And they also show that Helgi informed Hephaestus of the issue, and it was repeatedly ignored. And with that, I think we've got ourselves a case, my friends.
Yes! That's what I wanted to hear, Ellie. Woo!
Yes, but it's still likely to lose. Because what we really need now is Helgi as our witness, and that is a problem. Helgi isn't an ideal witness at all. He was our star witness the first time, and he never showed up. Plus, he's got a reputation around town. After he quit, he went a bit weird.
I can handle a bit weird. I know the captain can too.
Clearly. But the judge might feel differently. It might be worth finding some character witnesses too while you're looking for him. I'm glad you're taking it in stride. It's just, for a case with this much science, we need the man who wrote the claims to back them up. Maybe even explain it in layman's terms. We could, but I think we'd lose the case, bluntly. We can verify these documents are real, but Hephaestus can counter by attacking Helgi's character. They'll label him a disgruntled employee and then find a dozen independent scientists to confirm Irvin was at fault. But with Helgi in court, he can explain the science and help me challenge any countering theories during cross-examination. That's also a bit tricky. He's hard to find. Doesn't really stay in one place for long. You might ask Dr. Kayala. She checks up on folks who fall through the cracks sometimes. You'd have to convince her to tell you where he is. That might be hard.
Sounds like we're making a stop at the med clinic. We'll be back when we convince Helgi to be a witness.
Listen, if he refuses, then he refuses. Can't force him.
Yeah, we don't want to press him too hard. The last thing we need is him refuting what he wrote. This is going to take a light touch, but I think we can handle it.
A hazmat squad came through here the other day. Said they're cleaning out any heat leeches. Public safety concern. I think I missed something.
You want to know what I think about all these new businesses buying up the town?
How can I be of service?
Do you need medical assistance? Are you injured? Is there something I can help you two with?
Do you happen to know Dr. Helgi Hodgson? We're trying to get his help with something.
Sorry, who are you exactly?
We're detectives. Self-taught and unaffiliated. Freelance detectives. With the emphasis on the free part.
Wait, what? Detectives? Sorry, I don't think I know what you're talking about. I treat anyone who walks in my doors, if I'm able to. No, not really. I mean, there's Irvin the Slaughterer and Irvin the Scourge of Gagarin, but I doubt that's the same person, right? I'm sorry, I'm not a tour guide. You'll have to ask somebody else.
We're trying to help him. And Gagarin, actually.
Ellie's a good person. That bodes well, but I can't violate my oaths. I'm sorry. Listen, I can say that Helgi took up a job working at Clint's store just down the way. I saw him there stacking boxes the last time I picked up an order. I've got to get back to my work here, so if there's nothing else... If it's patient medical records you're after, I'll remind you, I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
We're thinking of taking Hephaestus to court with Dr. Hodgson as a witness. Now, given his situation, we're worried the defense might cast aspersions on his character, even question his mental health.
That's unfortunate, but not surprising. Look, if he agrees to testify and grants me permission, I could vouch for his well-being.
Thanks, Doc. If he does end up testifying, we'll definitely need you for the trial. Ellie Yankton will be in touch.
No promises, given patient confidentiality, but I'll do my best. I need to get back to my work now, if you don't
Get the
mind.
assessment back on your apartment?
I did. Bank says it's worth
I don't miss all the extra heat from the old forges, that's for
If
sure.
you're looking for something special, just ask.
Funny you ask, because I'd like to know too. He owes me a sizable debt. Enough that he's no longer allowed in my store. I don't like denying service to anyone, but it's the principle of the matter. I've seen him around, but never in one place, except when he needs money. I offered him a job, but he showed up to work drunk one day and I had to let him go. I don't have any ill will toward him. Sure, the credits I'd like to have back, but only because it'll mean he's gotten his life together. Nobody is going to know where he is aside from someone who knows the underbelly of Gagarin. And that is Lizzie up at the bar. That's who you need to ask. You sure you got the right person? Helgi and I have had several run-ins in the past. Yeah, and while you're here, maybe see about buying something, eh?
Good to be back on familiar streets. I just hope security.
Yes. The detectives. I heard about you.
A reputation already? I'm impressed.
Slow news day, I guess. I serve drinks here, friend.
We were told that you are a local crime.
We serve drinks here. Here's a list of our specials for today.
There's nothing on here.
Oh, that's strange. Here, let me fix that. Don't worry, it's just the one sale today.
Oh, right. Of course, it's a number. Here you go, Captain. All yours.
The service I provide is worth quite a lot. I'm glad you understand the position I'm in here. Maybe we can work something out. Yeah, I hope so. Huh, that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. All right. Consider it a favor. Sending the coordinates now. Wait, so let me get this straight. You want the bartender to testify he's not a lousy drunk? Don't have to tell me twice. Don't cook yourself out there.
Why is no one talking about bringing back mechs? City was fine before Freestar banned them.
We should check in with Ellie soon, after we visit Town Hall. Yep. Take this. Enjoy.
don't suppose you're here to tell me I've won a ticket to a new planet, huh?
Sorry, Doctor. Not today. We came to Gagarin to investigate Irvin Mandani's contract with the mining company a long time ago. Ring any bells?
Irvin, yeah. Biologist. Hunter. Yeah, I remember him. Why? Who are you people? Then find the history slate. An ancient history slate. Because that's what it is.
Please. Irvin was once one of your colleagues. He was the one Hephaestus blamed for an ecological disaster about 20 years ago. Do you remember any of that?
No, I don't remember lies. It's been 20 years. 20. Get out of here.
Look, I feel strange. He showed out of the blue about things that's decades ago. Right now, nobody says above knows the truth. And that means we're the only ones to clear Irvin's name.
That may be what it's about, but it's not what it's gonna be.
I get it. There's a lot cynical about it, but that's exactly what they want. They only win when we stop trying. But if you testify in court, you hold them accountable. You can change.
Testify. The trial is over. In case you two lost the memo. Because I tried before, and they threatened me 20 years ago. I still wake up in fear almost every night. They said if I ever left Gagarin, I left my wife to protect her. She didn't deserve any of this. Any of my mess. I remember not to talk with people who come asking questions about powerful corporations. Ellie Yankton. But why? It doesn't matter. Nothing's changed. Believe it or not, I don't need or want your money. I made enough of it by working for massive mining corporations. I don't need to risk anything else. I cannot do that. Why is this so hard to understand here? You're starting to make a lot of sense. Yeah, you may have a point. You got a point. Hephaestus' scientists will just say my theories are unfounded without me to defend them. You may be right. Fine, you've convinced me. I'd be willing to testify on one condition. I want to know what happened to Irvin. Because when he disappeared, let's just say I had an epiphany. Hephaestus didn't need to say a word. That's when I knew the threats against me and my family were real.
Dr. Hawkson, it wasn't Hephaestus that took Irvin's life. It was the war. Irvin was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Caught in the crossfire.
Then I am sorry for your loss. It won't change the past for either of us. But I will testify. And maybe, wherever Irvin is, you'll be glad that we can finally stick it to those assholes at Hephaestus.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, don't get all mushy on me now. I need a drink. Tell Miss Yankton I'll testify. Do whatever else she needs.
Helgi agreeing to testify is a great help. We might need witnesses to vouch for his character, though. Someone in security, maybe?
Hopefully, this will be enough to clear Irvin's name.
You heading outside the city? Be careful. If the heat doesn't kill you, the critters might.
Look, I can make a little time. Reliance always here when you need us.
Someone painted some choice words on the
Do you have a ship?
Okay, you two, lay it on me. Did you find Helgi? Did he agree to testify?
Well, we've got good news and... well, that's it. Just more good news.
Okay. Does that mean he said yes? What do we look like? New Atlantis? No. Well, that is perfect. She's probably the best person to call on should Hephaestus decide to play dirty. Well, you two have done all that you could. Now it's time to hand the baton off to me.
What do you think, Ellie? Do we have a chance?
The evidence you've gathered is impressive. It truly is.
So what's the verdict? In this case, I'd say spoilers are appreciated.
I almost never say this because I don't want to jinx it, but I think this case is a slam dunk.
Huzzah! That's what I like to hear.
I think we can do everything on our checklist. Clear Irvin of any wrongdoing, charge Hephaestus with the cover-up, and even restore Helgi, Dr. Hawkson's standing in the scientific community. All in all, though, really outstanding work. We wouldn't have gotten this far without your efforts. And I've got to imagine that wherever Irvin is, he appreciates it too.
Agreed, Ellie. And thanks for being our anchor in this. We should probably get out of Ellie's way and let her do her thing. We can talk more in private. Wow, we actually did it! Solved the case. And hopefully cleared Irvin's name. I feel like... what's the old saying? A great weight has been lifted off my shoulders? But it's actually true. I feel like I'm 80% biomass and 20% aerogel. It's a substance that is literally lighter than air, depending on the planet. Habitable planets tend to range from 1 to 2 milligrams per cubic centimeter. Most aerogels are about 1/10 of that. I feel like I'm currently hovering in that territory, give or take 1/10. You're right, but I'm confident Ellie's correct about the outcome. If nothing else, the court of public opinion is going to side with Irvin. If we lose, we can always leak the docs to SSNN. I hope so. It's always a tug-of-war between the workers and the mining corps. But there's one thing we've got in our favor. There's more of us than there are of them. All it takes is for the people to realize it. Ellie would know better than I, but I doubt it'll be anytime soon. These things tend to involve a lot of red tape. It's a special kind of adhesive that makes you stick to old filing cabinets and manila envelopes. I'm feeling great. Although I could do with some wine and cheese. Why stop at emotional satisfaction when we can indulge in the culinary too? But if I can be serious for a moment, thank you. I couldn't have done this without your help. That makes 2 of us. 3 if you count Harvey. And who wouldn't? He's practically family. In fact, Harvey's got a little explorer in him too. According to this slate I found, turns out that our spiky friend's been all across the galaxy. I doubt it. Harvey's a wanderer. Getting lost is how he finds his way home. We've been through a lot, haven't we? I had forgotten what it was like to work with someone so closely. On top of everything else we've done together and with Constellation, yeah, I think so. Investigating Irvin's case with you is something I'll remember forever. I've come to realize that some events, some people, stand out as pillars of my life. It's whatever leaves an impression on you, right? Moments that define our lives, where our future diverged from our expectations. People who changed you, or people you've changed. Yes, some of them do. And if we're lucky, they change us for the better. We only get a brief moment in this universe to interact, to feel, to be who we are and and the definition of that changes for, if one is fortunate, you might even know. I know I certainly am. I've explored many worlds, and I've worked with but you have changed me as a person forever. I don't want to look back years from now and want. You took the words right out of my mouth. Now, mind if we get back to exploring?